welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is the wonderful Ben Slinger.
Yeah, I'm here. We're doing this again.
I'm not going to keep that gap in there because that was too long and too much.
That was dramatic tension, Trevor. And now that I've said it, you have to keep it in because I referred to it.
Damn you! And I refer to it too. No, I can't be bothered cutting all this stuff out. So anyway, we're going to play a few rounds of Click Pitch.
This is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click, we're each going to get a new adjective and a noun each, and we're going to throw them together and we make a wonderful game sandwich.
I was just thinking sandwich. I think we both must be hungry.
It
is 10 to 10 at night, so midnight snack time.
Slam those words together as the bread and
grand sandwich.
Inside will be all the gameplay. Gameplay.
Gameplay.
Let's do it.
Indeed. So 3, 2, 1, gameplay.
Buck emotion.
Repulsive soul.
Ooh, repulsive soul. Okay.
I saw repulsive soul and I immediately thought of, this is someone who's been sent back to Earth for redemption, but they're utterly repulsive.
Yeah, they're just not a nice person. Nobody... Oh, wait, hang on. So are they not a nice person, or is it just their soul that is repulsive? Is there something about them that people just go, oh, there's just something about them?
I'm not too sure whether...
just to make it even
harder
worse
to put these things together. The soul has a soul stank. Like, it's rather stank.
Soul stank, yeah. It's the technical term for it, too. They use that up in heaven.
Yeah.
That's why they kicked you back. It's like, oh, that's soul stanky. Send it back down. Needs some more time. All right, no, we can do someone who's been sent back. Do they remember? Did they die and then did they have near-death experience, basically, or...
I'm thinking that it's one of these things where the body that they died in is already gone. Like, it got buried or burnt or whatever. So they've come down into someone else who died just recently, and they're now having to do that sort of, switch thing of they're living in someone else's body.
Living someone else's life. Okay. I go straight towards sort of the bureaucracy of heaven and how this comes about. Like, is this something that happens often, or was this sort of a mistake, or like their soul was just literally so stanky that for the first time ever they sent them back and said, oh, we'll just put them in that body of the person who just died?
Yeah, and give them the chance to cleanse that soul and get it unstankified.
Okay, all right. So
And one of the things that you get is you get a manual that says how to unstankify a soul.
Right, they just sort of find it in their pocket.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the person whose body they have inhabited, his name is Buck.
Yes, love it.
And
he loves to fuck.
And he's a huge cuck.
He's got like a yellow utility.
Well, no, wait.
Thing, and it's got pussy wagon written on the back.
Before we disparage Buck too much, I think if whoever's sold
I'm
this
doing a Kill Bill reference. That's
all right. I didn't get the reference, but whatever. I think Buck needed to have been an upstanding person, because then when whoever who we should name gets put into this body, there's a big difference, and everyone's treating him like, this nice person, and he's not used to it.
I'm not sure whether I should say this name or not, but Jean-Ralphio.
Well, now you've tainted the whole thing. Because it's perfect, though. I think it's perfect. I mean, I don't know how stanky Jean-Ralphio's soul would be, because he's generally good-hearted, even though he's, like, completely obnoxious. But I do love the idea of this, like, maybe 52-year-old man, Buck, who had this, what everyone believes is a near-death experience, like, was brought back from a heart attack, is suddenly like, I'm gonna get me some tacos. It's like completely off the rails with ridiculous ideas and getting up in people's faces.
Yep. I know. It just, it calls out for like so many awesome scenes, but I'm not sure whether it's gameplay related. So maybe
we have not found a game here yet. We have not found a game here
Maybe
yet.
we step back to John Ralphio.
Okay. That's fine.
But the character is still voiced by Ben Schwartz.
Okay, yeah, that's good. He can tone it down a little.
Yeah.
Do more of his Sonic.
Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast.
Okay, so gameplay.
So what's the game? First person? Because I feel like there's some interesting stuff there around your eye, like waking up in the literal head then of someone else.
Yeah, and you got the whole lost thing of the eye opens, and there's sort of like the camera's on the eye, goes back, and then you're within the head sort of thing.
Yeah,
I can sort of see that whole thing of you just instantly wake up and you're in a hospital bed.
Yes. And there's like your daughter is there, or Buck's daughter is there.
Yeah.
Immediately.
What's Buck's last name?
Rogers. No.
Fredrickson?
Fredrickson is like my go-to name. Sure, Buck Fredrickson.
Yeah. Because that kind of just rolls off the
Yeah, sure. And his really good friends call him Ricky from Fredericks, and they just,
I'm imagining that our character, like, really, really likes the look of this girl.
Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't even think of that, but yes, perfect.
And then realizes,
because he doesn't even realize
calling
the relation.
in Dad, that, oh, literally, this is my daughter in this body. And I'm like, oh my God.
Well, hang on, because how long does it even take him to realize what's happened?
Or he hasn't seen himself. He hasn't seen himself.
Well, this is the thing. So does he just think he had this horrible dream about going up to heaven and then kicking him out? And then he wakes up in the hospital, is like, oh, I'm actually alive. Oh, and there's this hottie sitting next to me. Who's this? Like, starts coming onto it because that's totally his vibe.
And adds to the stankiness of it because it's like, oh, this is just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, what good game doesn't start off with some unintentional incest? I mean, come on. Game of the year right there.
But thing is, I'm just imagining that this brochure or this book that you've got that actually says how to de-stankify a soul.
Yeah.
Or whatever I said before.
I think that was it.
There's like lines that are crossed off as you go through, and it's about learning to become a better person who doesn't objectify people, who doesn't
just look out for themselves, who cares, has empathy for other people, shows their emotions.
So I think the gameplay comes in the fact that you are going out anytime. I think the first little part of the game, you can sort of go out and get drunk or do whatever you want, but you kind of get slammed in the face by this book anytime that you go to like not do something that is furthering the furthering the destankification.
If you leave it behind, like you'll go 100 meters away, and then suddenly it'll smack you in the back of the head.
And that's the first time. The next time it comes out of your mouth. You don't want to know where it comes out the third time.
Does the book
big and thick like a Bible? Yes.
Well, geez, that's a lot of stuff, but yeah, that's fine.
It's full of empty pages.
Is it somewhat
it's just big and thick?
And this could come into it. Does it talk to him through the writing? Like he'll open to a page in the book, and there'll be the first line he reads is like, "Don't do that again because you're not going to like where it comes out the third time." Right? Yeah. But it's still written in that way of like he opens the page and it's like the second time you leave your book behind, and it's still written as if it's this instruction manual, but it's always super accurate to the situation.
So this is where it becomes somewhat like the Stanley Parable or something like that, in the fact that the book is narrating the story as it's going. And I think it's
did kind of have that in mind, yeah.
And
do you think it's voiced though?
I think you can. There's something that actually happens that Ben Schwartz starts complaining that he can't keep on opening this book and looking back at it. Like, there's got to be something better. And all of a sudden, it turns into like an audio book.
A voice in his head.
Like,
yeah, okay, that's good.
It turns into like an old 80s set of headphones that he can put over the head with a metal band.
Yeah, like the old Sony Walkman.
The Sony Walkman.
The yellow
that
one.
Sort of stuff. Yeah, the yellow one.
We need a name for the Stanky character.
Sean?
There you go, yes.
Sean. Now, Sean or Shaun?
Shean.
Oh! Ben Slinger coming in with the hot takes.
He changed it. He changed it just to be more obnoxious.
Yeah. Okay. So he's having to learn to live in Buck's body.
Yes.
I'm seeing like,
I think maybe Buck is a widower.
Yes.
Because I feel just narratively him sort of finding himself and then potentially even having
an estranged son could actually, the whole reconnect actually reflects on the fact that Sean and his father didn't get along. So it's sort of like,
and I think you
from
definitely
the opposite position.
Draw some parallels between Sean and this estranged son and the way that they behaved. And then Sean in Buck's body sees the results of it on his daughter and on the other people, on himself, obviously, even though he doesn't necessarily care for the son at this point, but he starts to see the repercussions of that. Yes.
Yeah. I kind of want to put in there some things about like what Buck got up to before he passed on.
Yes.
I think that he did have like an active church life, but it's not the kind of church that you kind of would normally associate, because he was actually a Satanist.
He was in the Church of Satan.
Yeah. Just the like the actual church,
the humanists, like most society, yes.
So it's sort of like, it's one of these things where you can sort of say that like they're just in it for
I think you
bettering
very much
themselves,
we can very much make him somewhat along that cliched line of community minded, very selfless, but let's keep the actual like spiritual religions out of it.
As like, there are people out there who, are lovely people and into what some people would misconstrue as like a religion that is like totally right out there. But in reality, they're just like everyone else. They're just looking for something to believe in. And
and I mean, we can certainly have some explanations in there around the Church of Satan and what they actually do and represent, because they picked their name to be controversial.
Yes.
And to make a satirical point, but yes.
In reality,
it's all about,
they don't believe in evil and all that sort of stuff. You know, it's all about doing the right thing.
Yes. And human rights and such. That's fine. I like that. And only just because it gives him that community mindedness and like a large sort of, circle of people to varying levels of sort of connection without having to go into the religion thing.
That maybe, he did have troubles, Buck did have troubles with the bottle at one stage. So there's like a AA meeting that he has to go to, and that sort of impacted on his relationship with his son and all this sort of stuff. And just having to go to these meetings and having to go to these little things and share, like, Sean actually has to start sharing his own life.
How do we play it out? Because, obviously we've gone fairly deep on the narrative again, and we talked about, so gameplay wise, we've just talked about first person, we've talked about narrative and narration sort of mechanic.
Yes.
A la Stanley Parable in a way.
Yeah. And that sort of brings into, it's telling you what you should be doing. And if
I think
don't do that, you get punished.
Well, do you get punished, or do you just sort of get taught a lesson, I suppose, in some way?
You get taught a lesson in a very painful way.
So it's not, well, I don't think it should be punitive though. Like, I think it needs to make a point. Like, I think the book is literally trying to tell
right through your sternum.
I don't think destigifying a soul necessarily involves just a lot of pain and whatever. Like, my point is, I think that when you do something wrong, I don't know whether the book gives you another chance to do it right, or, you know, tells you what you should have done and you have a little conversation there. Like, there needs to be some sort of, and again, specifically from a mechanics point of view, you could have it be, oh, do it right this time. You know, the book's got this power.
What I think is, there is effectively a test always in progress in which you must get 75% or higher mark.
Yeah. Okay.
So the idea that if you hit enough of these good points along the way,
so basically you're going to have like a
good
series of interactions that you're being rated on. You don't necessarily find out the rating until, you know, the actual end point of that sort of section.
Yeah. But you are going to know whether you did well or not. It's just...
Yeah.
And I think what gives it a pass mark is you got 50% or higher, yep, that you pass. But then, you know, you sort of got a grading after that gives you extra points.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be challenging to write. It'd be hard to not come off as preachy around, here is the 100% best way you should interact with other people in life. But yeah, I think you could write something there, that had some decent.
I'll tell you how you get 100%.
Yeah.
Don't be a total asshat. That's like the best motto that you can ever.
I mean, yeah, that's fine. I mean, and maybe it is more around taking points off.
So in other words, if you are good to people, if you have actually learnt that, you know, it's not all about you and you treat people with dignity, you're gonna pass. Like, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I think there would be some challenges there where you take off points for, like, depending on how granular these points are, right? You'd have to be pretty clear that, like, this is a bad thing to do, even if, like, there are grey areas, right? That's what I meant by, it could start feeling a bit preachy of, like, you know, oh, well, I thought acting a little bit aggressive there was the right thing to do because they were being shitty, and standing up for yourself is maybe, you know, a good thing, but the game thought, actually, no, ever being aggressive is bad, or whatever. Like,
well, actually, I was thinking we could go along the good place way of thinking of, no, you got marked down because you had almond milk, and that's bad for the environment.
Right, okay, you go full on satirical with it like that. So the system is actually broken itself. I don't know, I feel like then that's counterintuitive or counteractive to actually making a good point. Anyway, I think we've gone off the rails. I think we've gone long enough on this one. So let's click again.
What a repulsive soul.
Cleared puncture.
Distasteful custom.
Okay. This distasteful custom is, in this society, it's like a maybe a seafaring society of some sort.
Yep.
And when they need to...
is it on this planet, or is it a...
Well, we'll figure that out. But my point was, when they need to exile someone, they put a big inflatable rubber tube around them, and then they just puncture one side and they go off away from their ship or society, or like their town or whatever, and they're exiled, and that's how they send them off.
Okay.
So that's a starting point.
That's a starting point. Okay. Are you a newly exiled person, or are you someone who has just been, who has just had to exile someone?
I think,
because I kind of like the survival
interesting.
aspect.
You kind of like what?
I kind of like the survival aspect.
Yeah. Well, what I was
you've
thinking
just been kicked off, and you're now having to survive on your own.
Can this be? And I know you don't like management games. I'm not saying go in that direction, but a bit of a like town building game in a sense where, yes, initially it's sort of a survival aspect, but the goal is like you start quickly actually building up the town, and you're essentially creating your own town now, and people come in and inhabit the houses that you've built and then help you build new things. So there is a lot of like building placement, and maybe even
come live in Exileville.
Maybe some economy stuff could be interesting, like, but from a first person view or third person.
So kind of like a survival-esque game like Valheim?
Yeah, actually, my mind did kind of go to Valheim. I haven't played a ton of that, but I think
where you are building like a village.
Modern. Yeah. I don't think we're going like, obviously, like modern day technology, but, perhaps even to the point of kind of, like 1800s or something. Like you can eventually, you're building like cobblestone streets and potentially getting to the point of plumbing or, maybe even basic electricity, right?
See, my thought was obviously where you've come from is a very seafaring community.
Yes.
And you've been exiled to land.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So what is the reason why the seafaring community do not live on the land anymore? What is their key reason for not wanting to live on the land?
I think,
is it fear of attacks? Is it?
I mean, I think they're nomadic in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think maybe there is bad blood there with the people on the land. Maybe in a bit of a like, what was the race in Mass Effect? Is it the Tarians or no? What are they called? That with the masks and stuff, and they're a nomadic tribe. The way they've got the fleet or whatever.
Yep, I forgot.
Yeah,
Krogans.
No, the Krogans are the big. No, I'm talking about the one that with the masks. That
yes,
can't breathe
they can't breathe the atmosphere.
Yeah,
I've forgotten what they are. Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, they've been exiled from their home, or have left their home, and they are nomadic in that way. So something along those lines. Like there's essentially this, huge fleet of ships where sometimes they'll go off on their own, sometimes they'll come back. They're sort of these floating towns as such. But they stay out in the ocean because they no longer want to associate with people on the land because of, a history of war or the original people who were exiled then created that seafaring civilization. Yeah.
And it'd be kind of cool if you could do a little bit of investigation to find out that, they were only seafaring because they were originally exiled from the land.
Yeah.
And now they're exiling people back to the land, and
it all comes back to one guy who, and it turns out it was an accident, but someone just pierced his inner tube and he went flying out to sea and was never seen again. And he was like, well, fuck, I guess they don't want me then. I'll start my own town.
I'll start my own town with blackjack and hookers.
Yes. And so that sort of over, 1,000 years then, just became this split, and he convinced more people or to come over and told them the story of how, the people on the land are horrible and sent him out to sea, but now he's surviving on his own. And so they've got this real sort of survivalist nomadic feel to them.
Okay. How about this? About halfway through the game, you're on this island and you think that you're relatively alone. You've got a couple of other exiled, people who sort of come and you sort of build this village. When you go exploring, at one point there's an earthquake and a pass opens in the mountains or something like that. You breach through to the other side and there's a huge, vibrant city
modern city
that is full on, technologically advanced and all this sort of stuff. Because it's been 1,000 years since the original guy got sort of moved on, and they're all, I'm wondering one of two ways, whether it's an abandoned city. And you're now finding out what actually happened to this other group, which is why you haven't seen them in your lifetime.
All right. Okay. Can we go down? I see.
What I like about that is that you can then sort of,
salvage.
You can then
things,
sort of salvage sort of things of, obviously you don't know the technology and that sort of stuff, but you can at least take some of the stuff from there. But
because
the idea of walking through a deserted city, in first person, that is just,
particularly in this sort of, so it reminds me a little bit of a Subnautica or something too, right? But I think I very much like the idea of kind of combining a village builder of sorts. Like a settlers or, whatever. So I think by halfway through the game, you've probably got quite a lot of people. You've probably got 40 or 50 people in this city, and they've all got jobs and but you're viewing from first or third person or whatever. And it's oh, there's the baker going off and, picking up the flour from the mill, and you've set up all these things. or at least told them where to build them and stuff. And so that's going to be very much your town, but it is more in this sort of technological, or pre-modern technology sense. And then, yes, I think there's an event of some kind, once your population reaches a certain level or whatever, and it opens up into this abandoned city and you realize, oh, right, there's this whole history here, we're maybe actually in the year 3500 or something, and most of humanity
doesn't even have to be on this planet.
Well, yeah, exactly. But the equivalent of, I suppose.
One of the things I was thinking about was that there is no one left in this civilization, like
the modern civilization.
Yeah, from the modern civilization. It's almost as if, and you may be able to find this out in game, I'm not sure whether we're going to go down this route, but they've all uploaded themselves to the cloud.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of thing. And that it's a completely digital civilization yet now that, they had no need for their physical bodies anymore. They're just living
and
forever
so do you
in
meet
this.
Some of them then? Or do you just find remnants that say, oh, they're all living in the big mainframe that's like stored deep under the earth or something, or whatever it is, in this entirely virtual Matrix-like world?
I'm sort of almost seeing, a lot of references to the Collective. Or something like that. That is, a big event that was coming up, and this Tuesday, make sure that you.
Okay, so you do environmental storytelling sort of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of environmental storytelling.
How far do you go? Because we definitely need to balance if we are doing the kind of city building stuff
and the exploration stuff.
So I think in general, I don't think there's a lot of combat or anything. I think it's a peaceful city building for the most part, so that you can be pretty safe in going off for an extended period of time to explore.
Yeah.
And that your city's just going to be running pretty well, by the time you get back. Maybe because you haven't quite balanced things right, there's a huge stockpile of flour because it can't be used enough for the baker or whatever.
They're literally not smart enough to actually go, oh, well, if you actually did a bit more of these ingredients, then you could actually, build these other things. And
again, I guess it depends on how you.
It's because you never actually researched and worked out pizza that they never realized that, not just bread, but you could also make, pizza dough and all these other, croissants.
All these other things with the flour.
And
just
imagining all these bakery goods that you can go down.
I mean, if you essentially, if you've got the resources to make the assets, why not mix it up a bit? Have 30 different recipes that they can build.
I think that there are a couple of unusual sort of things that sort of point at that there is something bigger happening. Like there's a cave that you can sort of go into that has similar technology to what you find on the ship and all that sort of stuff. And it's on this side of the island, you find a bit more of the technology.
I like doing this as a real balance. And again, in the sort of Subnautica way, I feel like you can balance between, okay, you're often going back to the village, you've found something new. It's like, okay, now I've got this new technology that's unlocked. All right, let's set up a little thing here. All right, that system's running pretty smoothly. Now we've got, an improved water pump or whatever because we found the recipe somehow, or a new type of metal or whatever. But then, yes, you go off exploring again. And once this city opens up, that opens up a whole new tree of technologies that you can then go back and implement in your town. But including some that will make it much more able to run in your absence, I think. Mm-hmm. Further allowing you to then explore even further each time.
For longer. Because it's all about the length of time that you're away.
Yeah, but both just being able to see more. And I think we can even, if it's fully sort of futuristic technology from our point of view, then we can start bringing in we powered this thing up and now we can teleport back to near the town or something so that you can easily then extend your range. And
something that you've built your town around maybe is actually
right.
It's part of this technology. You thought it was just a weird,
a weird rock or whatever.
A weird, standing stone sort of thing, but that had a hole in the middle.
You've got this big fountain in the middle of your town. That's sort of a big I don't know, hexagonal shape.
Yeah.
And you've built this fountain around it. And yeah, when you power up this thing in the town and sort of point it in that general direction, it just like a fucking Stargate opens up basically in the middle of you. Whoosh, takes out half the town.
Takes out a kid's head. It's like, oh.
But yes, now you can essentially travel. I really like that idea. I like that combination of
environmental storytelling and survival
and city building, survival-y stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few interesting mixes there. Because I know Valheim does the survival stuff from third person like that. But I don't know if I don't think it's got the economy stuff. Like, I like that idea of bringing in some of that economy stuff, which is very popular in those village builders or city builders.
Not my cup of tea, but I'd be in it for the exploration and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and okay, here's another thought then, is in multiplayer.
It could be. Or you can just like set up like a tax man who goes around and sort of does all the accounting and stuff and does like it's like an easy mode that
well, I was more just thinking that like then you could at least, if someone's more into the city building stuff, they can, you know, hang around and tweak all the economies and locations of things and paths that people are taking, and then someone who's more into the exploration can be going off on these expeditions and things.
Okay. I want to do something that we haven't done here before.
Okay.
I'm going to be playing a character called Gary. You're going to be playing a character called Barry.
Okay.
And we're playing this multiplayer. I'm an explorer type.
Are we the characters in the game, or we're the players of the game?
We're the players of the video game. It's
okay. So we're in our Discord chat.
On a Discord chat. It's like, so Barry.
Yeah. Yep.
You right to like do all this stuff here because I just want to go off and explore and shit.
Yeah. Look, I need to set up the whole fucking iron smelting thing again since we got that new technology.
You just do you. I'm going to go off and explore.
Yeah. Okay.
Cut to 20 minutes later. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
This shit about the collective.
Hang on a sec. All right. Sorry. I just had to finish building that last fucking path. All right. So I think it's working. Yeah.
You should see the shit that's going on over here. Like that. I'm seeing all this environmental stuff about the collective, and it's like,
is this why
have you read anything about this game?
Even though we're on Discord, like I was wondering what you were doing.
Oh, I was so engaged in like all this environmental storytelling. I just, you know, it's amazing. The graphics in this game, like you should come over, jump into the portal that I just set up in the middle of town.
Oh,
you know that fountain?
Yeah.
Jump in,
like just lit up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just
whoa. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm coming. I think it's loading. Hang on.
Yeah. Sorry.
It must be loading in the new chunks.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Look at the ray tracing.
Oh yeah.
It looks fucking amazing.
Why did they only turn on ray tracing in this part of the game?
Because it's fucking awesome.
This is like a completely different game over here.
Yeah.
This is wild. What did you find?
So, see here? This poster on the wall is talking about a collective.
Okay.
You know, be online on Tuesday. It's like, what's the collective? This must be what the game's all about.
But I've set up this town.
Who gives a shit about the fucking
smoothly.
town?
We've got like 50 people relying on us there to provide them food and clean water and
they can do it all.
Entertainment.
Just let Larry, the tax accountant, do it all.
I just set up a clown academy so that they've got entertainment.
Yeah, but look at this. There's nobody here. Where did they all go? This is not even steampunk. This is, you know, there's crystal towers everywhere. I mean, look at the one over there.
Utopian future, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, can we use any of this stuff back in town?
I did see something about like reading logs and like uploading your consciousness to the collective. That must be what they're talking about in the poster.
Good connection building. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
The reason why I was so silent for the last 20 minutes is I was like,
you were just engrossed.
Mouth agape is at this beautiful graphics.
I did notice you there in our little video overlay that you were I just thought you were like asleep or something. It was a bit weird. Sort of sitting there with your mouth open. I thought maybe you were just having that breathing problem again.
Oh. Did you see that up in the corner?
No, I missed
the town. The town's just gone bankrupt. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. We're over here now, so this is our new town. Like, everyone must be dead over there. Who cares? Like, let's just not go back there. Let's deal with
what sort
this wonderful
of
thing.
Monster are you? They helped us get to this point, and you're just callously declaring them all dead.
They must be, because it said, help.
I know. I see it now. The town,
Mary the baker,
is on fire or something. It must be. Fuck! Did they
put out all the fires?
All right. Well, I'm going back. You tell me how this ends, because I need to.
Do you
fix
really
my
want to go back there?
That's my game. I didn't even know this whole part of the game was here. I was enjoying the city building.
Oh, I'm loving this bit. This exploration part. That's fucking amazing. Oh my god! The reflections. They just look fucking amazing.
Okay, we could use some glass back in town, so I'm going to take that.
You can't take my glass. I'm going to fight you for it.
I want to see if but
no,
there's no friendly fire.
They didn't open up friendly fire.
No, sorry, I didn't turn that on when we started the game. All right,
so it sounded like Barry and Gary were playing two separate games, and that second game sounded great.
I mean, I think that there's something to be said for merging genres.
I guess Barry and Gary may have to turn up again the next time that we have a multiplayer game, and we'll see what they think.
We should have done voices. We said we can tell. All right, yeah.
You weren't doing a voice. I was playing a full character. Gary had a backstory. He had a wife.
I'm going to put a Darth Vader generator. Well, no, it's your edit, but put a Darth Vader thing over my voice, and then it'll be
maybe a pitch changer. Maybe.
All right, 3, 2, 1, click. Moving on.
That's a lot of automation that you're asking me to do right now.
Chopped novice.
Prerequisite physiology.
Okay. So just chopped novice by itself brought me to like a chef.
Necromancer?
No, I was thinking more like in a kitchen. Like chef school or some sort. But then you said physiology.
Prerequisite physiology. Which brought me to Dr. Frankenstein chopping up.
Right.
We've never seen a Frankenstein game. That could be a bit of fun.
I think we've come close
grave robbing
some things, but I do. We've done something. We've done something with limbs that you definitely.
We have done something with limbs,
but yes. All right, so that's fine. I'm fine with a sort of Frankensteinian creating monsters from limbs. But what do we use them for? Do they fight each other like battle bots?
Battle zombies. I do like that. I do like battle zombies. But I think that, in the Frankenstein sort of way that, he's trying to become, a world-renowned scientist.
Mm-hmm. And
he's realized that, human body and all that sort of stuff is just electrical impulses. So he thinks that if he can harness the lightning, he can reactivate dead flesh and
yes,
build a man.
Yes.
So his whole story is he and his trusty friend Igor. Which this could be a co-op
Frankenstein
game.
On this. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking, real Frankenstein, and I'm kind of thinking maybe we can bring in a little bit of something that you might like in the fact that how does Frankenstein pay for his mansion and all that sort of stuff, the odd jobs and stuff that he has to do on the side to like keep this all going. And then you've got Igor who's going out and getting body parts and.
Well, okay, because I was almost thinking, we do roguelikes fairly often.
Yes.
But generally the main purpose of the roguelike is the actual run itself. And then you fail or whatever, and then you just start a new one.
Are you thinking a roguelike in the way of the body parts that you can actually get at any one time are totally random and
I'm thinking that you do roguelike runs as Igor or B-Gore or C-Gore or D-Gore, depending on how many of them have died.
Yeah.
Igor goes out on the runs, you play that bit, you get body parts, the further you get, maybe more different body parts, rare body parts, different, things. If you finish the run, you make it back successfully.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the game. Like, that's sort of like one section of the game. Now it's like, okay, now I've got these body parts to play with. All right, build. Now I'm customizing this creature. Now I'm building the mansion, maybe, like whatever it is. Like, it's almost like this is framing the roguelike runs, but it's also an equal part of the game as well, is it? Sort of?
Okay. I think that brought into a modern day setting.
Yep.
In the fact that Dr. Frankenstein, it's now set in 2000s technology, in the fact that he's got DNA sequences. He's got, access to these different things in the laboratory. He can actually now check when you bring in body parts. He can sort of, do some checking and go, oh, no, if we put this arm into our, mainly, B positive, built character, it's going to reject that limb.
78% chance of rejection or something.
Yeah, and it's
I
all
do like
about
that idea of compatibility there.
And then as you're going through, depending on, Igor may have a really bad night of as he pulls back all these bodies. The only ones that he could sort of find were ones from the morgue, from that from the local hospital, but they were all AB negative. And
all right, what if the sort of loop is, and in a way this does focus it a little bit more on the roguelike runs, I guess, but what if it starts with Igor? You do start with Igor, and he's pretty frail, and he's got his bad posture, and he can't do much, but he can dig really well. So he comes, you start and you're probably getting bodies from graveyards and stuff.
Yeah.
If Igor dies, your only chance is to create a new person from the parts that you've done. So essentially, you're creating person after creature after creature to replace Igor, and then it's that creature that's going out to find parts. But they're going to have different skills based on the parts you've built them out of.
Is it different Igors, or is it one of those things of you're replacing parts on Igor? And it's one of those things of if you replace all the parts on Igor, is he still Igor?
It's like a Ship of Theseus thing.
Yeah, Ship of Theseus thing. Like, if you've replaced every single thing, including the head, is it still Igor?
Okay, I like that. I like that.
That's asking a pretty good question there.
So I think, okay, in that case then, yes, it's always Igor. If you fail a run, then Igor loses a body part or something, loses a limb.
It depends on how angry the gravekeepers are, or the grave diggers and that sort of stuff.
I think just from a general sense, though, there needs to be a penalty. So,
for failing a run,
for failing a run, and so then you do have to choose from your, stack of limbs that you've gathered thus far to be like, oh shit, we need to replace that left arm.
What happens if they weren't on ice?
This, super high.
If you don't cool them down, if you haven't sprung for the refrigerator chest on the back of his wagon or whatever. You're in I'm thinking of I Am Bread sort of situation that if they touch the ground, you get a little bit of percentage off and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. But it's the longer that it's out in the air, the more that it starts
That feels to me more like as you build up your facilities back in the mansion or back in the lab, that you get refrigeration. So it could be Igor's gone on a run, failed, comes back missing one limb, and you're like, okay, we need to replace this limb. We do have some, but because we don't have refrigeration, they're all at 20% fresh rating or whatever left. And so they're going to be
they're certified rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
Exactly. Yeah. They're going to be either weaker to use, or so your HP is going to be lower, or your damage is going to be lower,
or you're easier to detect from the smell.
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how many mechanics we're bringing into the roguelike. We haven't really talked about what the roguelike aspects are. But whatever that is, yes, I feel like there's definitely a lot of mechanics we can play with, them both on the sort of character creation side and then the actual roguelike runs.
Okay. I think one of the things in preparation for a roguelike run is you go down to the shops and buy a newspaper and start looking through the obits.
Okay.
And you're looking for funerals that happened today.
Right. Because you're just looking for fresh bodies.
Because you're looking for fresh corpses or an accident that you may happen to see. And it's like, oh, all these people are housed in this hospital, blah, 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 blah. And obviously hospitals have a lot more security. Yes. Or morgues have a lot more security, and therefore it's a lot riskier. And it sort of adds into the stealth gameplay there and all that sort of stuff of you may be able to get in, but can you get out?
Let's talk about what sort of gameplay these roguelikes are, because I was somewhat thinking like a 2D.
I'm thinking like a Diablo-esque, isometric sort of view.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you
I mean, they're technically on a 2D plane, so it's still...
No, I know, but it's different gameplay. I guess it depends on how then you want the different limbs to sort of affect things. Because I'm sort of thinking, to give them enough enemies, is this a world essentially where, or at least in this town, it's known that if you don't secure your dead bodies, then fucking Dr. Frankenstein's going to take it. So
no, because I don't think people know about Dr. Frankenstein yet until he publishes his.
All right, but then my point is there needs to be a reason. Like, what's the reason for you to have enough minions to come up against, right? Like, you're not just killing random people to get these bodies or doing whatever.
The more that you steal bodies, the more that, it's known in the newspapers. Like, as you buy the newspapers each day to look in the obits, it's like on the front page, it's like the grave robbing bandits have struck again, stealing 13 bodies from the local cemetery.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, because then you can up the difficulty as you go, basically.
Yeah. And your run is pretty much how many nights in a row can you get away with stealing bodies, and can you differ them enough so that they're no longer protecting necessarily you got all the cops around the graveyard, and so therefore they've left the hospital open. Or you see in the newspaper, brand new graveyard opening tonight, 13 bodies like being buried right now.
But they put up huge fences, and you can
huge
only
fences,
get in from the top.
Like, I'm picturing, like, in this particular graveyard, there's lots of fake gravestones because you never see
start a new graveyard.
You can't start a new graveyard
just
as there's like a Windows XP field, a green fields and all that sort of stuff. They've got to have tombstones there, so.
Yeah, but then it becomes like a, whack-a-mole. No, not a whack-a-mole, but like figuring out which are the real and which are the fake tombstones. You don't want to spend too much time there. You'll get busted. Yeah. Look,
it's all about working out which of the tombstones are actually made of concrete and which ones are made of polystyrene.
Yeah. So you just go around and start trying to smash them all.
No, you just squeeze them a little bit and you hear the squeak squeak and you go, no, that's not a real one.
You just go around with a leaf blower. They just all go flying off. Or just like a hot knife.
Like a hot knife through polystyrene.
Like a hot knife through a headstone. All right, 3, 2, 1, Cliff. I think we've got time for one more tonight.
Unbelievable vehicle.
Transformed girlfriend.
Okay.
Is this a girlfriend who can transform into a vehicle?
Transformers in this world.
In disguise.
Yeah, basically, you find out that the new car that you picked up and the new girlfriend that, you happen to meet. They don't like each other, and they're never seen in the same room because they are one and the same.
Wait, so I want to be careful here about ownership, because if you buy a car and it turns out to be a girlfriend, then that's going to have some weird problematic stuff. Do you... I mean, there's already problems with that in Transformers in general, but it makes it worse when it's a woman. So do you meet? So you get a new car, and then like the next day you meet this girl, basically, who you've never met before, and eventually
you're together for a small amount of time.
Yeah.
Prologue, you're together. You find out that she's actually the vehicle that you currently have.
You find out very quickly.
You find out early on.
I mean, I guess she probably has to tell you. Whenever you try to drive her somewhere and you're like, my fucking car's been stolen again. She's sick of going to the police station.
Yeah. So she actually breaks up with you, and
Okay.
the rest of the game is all about your girlfriend's having a relationship with someone else, but it's also your car. So
With a
therefore-
fucking Tesla. I cannot believe she broke up with me and hooked up with a Tesla.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's your car, though?
It's still your car. Like
It's the replacement car that you bought.
Well,
Are
I'm
they-
thinking that you still drive the same car. Like,
Wait, you're still driving her.
you're still driving her, but you're just not. You're
Oh.
friends.
That's you just.
And she's
You're like,
hooking
I've
up with
got
a
a date
Tesla.
tonight. She's like, well, I've got a date tonight, so I can't drive you, or you can't drive
it's-
me.
And it's a whole The Odd Couple thing of
This feels very much like what would be in a dating sim, where like you're dating cars that are actually people in a very kind of
Boyfriend dungeon.
boyfriend or boyfriend dungeon sort of way. Vehicular girlfriend or whatever.
I'm seeing this as girlfriend garage.
Friend garage. Oh boy, it
my
really is
God.
more problematic when you have it with women, though. I mean, that's just unfortunately the history of fucking patriarchy. But girlfriend garage, yeah, all right. You know what? We're gonna leave it on girlfriend garage. Let's do one more because I don't actually want to delve into that any further.
No.
Surrounding limb.
Identifying ID.
Identifying ID. Thanks, random word generator. Jesus. Redundant much. All right.
So you find this hand.
Well, no, because I'm wondering, is this some sort of world where you've got... No, let's not go there. Okay, you go.
You find this hand attached to a limb.
Yeah.
Attached to a limb, and the only identifying marks is a tattoo and fingerprints.
Okay.
And you're trying to find out who this limb belongs to.
Okay. Is this a serious game or a jokey game? And
A jokey
bear in mind, this leads directly to how much physics we put on that limb. Jokey game. Okay. So you're definitely just flapping this arm around. Is it like elbow down? Shoulder down?
I do like the shoulder
down
because
does
that
give
adds
you
a
an
little bit
extra
more
joint.
IK.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you're very expressive when talking with the limb, and it's sort of flopping around everywhere. It's just sort of like, do you know who owns this limb? It's like,
well, can it be in like a Nintendo-esque kind of? I feel like this is almost like a Banjo-Kazooie or a Mario 64 style platformer. Then, where because I'm just sort of thinking of the gesticulations as they're talking to each other in like a and it's coming up with like, yeah, I found this arm. It's starting to stink. Do you know who it might belong to? And then there are mechanics around the arm for like reaching things and
yeah. And I don't think it stinks. I think it's an arm.
not yet. Yeah.
I think it's an arm, and this is set over one day. So, like, it's over the same day. It's not going to stink in a day.
Okay.
It may leave a little bit of a blood trail here or there, but, you know, you could have some
I think
comedic
it's
spoils
constantly pumping out blood.
some comedic stuff in the background of people slipping over and, like, getting blood all over
Well, I think that could actually be a really good mechanic of, you've been in this direction because the blood trail from this arm is
Have I been to this police station? Yes, I have. There's a big pool of blood. Just
a pool of blood.
the
The windows are smeared.
Yeah. So I'm imagining that you go in there to the police officer and say, look, I found this arm and I need to identify it. And it's like, unfortunately, our fingerprint scanner is on the fritz. Yeah. If you can go find Professor Hawkeye, he can come down and he can actually fix it for us. So you go off on a fetch quest of doing that, and while you're out and about, you can.
Then someone recognizes the tattoo while you're out or something, and they're like,
yeah.
Oh, it's the guy who dropped off my fridge last week had a tattoo like that. I think he worked at such and such company.
Yeah, and then you go down there and he goes, oh, no, he's just over there, and he's waving in the background, and he's got 2 arms, and it's like, oh, but
he's waving with both arms in the background.
Yeah, but you know, this is a well-known tattoo. Like, this is done by the tattoo artist. You know,
who lives on top of the giant hill over yonder.
Yeah. And in order to get to him, you need to actually make sure that you get you collect all 25 pieces of the poster that are scattered around the warehouse.
It's not the pieces of the poster. He's put up those forms with a like tear one off with the number, but there's a different part of the number on every one, so you have to collect them all.
Yeah, so you're now running around collecting all the little bits of paper from.
Yep.
Some people have got them. Some they go, oh, I was in the bathroom and that's the last time I remember seeing it. And you go there and it's like, you know, it's that typical thing of it's floating and turning, and it's larger than life. You know, so it's, you know, it's big,
like
and it's got
pickup.
particles coming off and all this sort of shit.
Yeah, it's a platformer pickup. Yeah, for sure.
And then like, I'm imagining this massive pickup that's like the size of you, but then when you pick it up, it's like this tiny little piece of paper.
Yeah, it shrinks down into your hand. Yeah.
And you just sort of collect them all in the hand of the limb.
And so the end game of it, like, once you finally you track them down, they're like, they went off on a fucking voyage somewhere and you need to go to where they were, and you eventually find them, and
they'll be next door neighbor.
They'll be next door neighbor. No, but I'm thinking they're just like, I knew I was missing something. It's been so hard for me to drive lately. All right, thanks. Can I have that back? And then he just like reattaches it. And all's good in the world.
Yeah. It's a fun, stupid platformer that involves a lot of blood and guts and a lot of slapstick in the background of people slipping over in blood.
A slap hand in the foreground.
Oh, you're talking to someone, you slap them in the face with a hand, and then you go into the whole duel scene. And, you know, you're walking away from each other in this drawer, and you pull out
challenge thee.
You pull out the limb, and it's got a gun attached, and it fires off the gun because you happen to pull the right tendon, and it's like...
Yep. I love it. All right. I think we're going to leave it on that note. If you want to find us online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. We've got all of our previous episodes up there to listen to, and shoot us a review. Let us know what you thought, and whether we, I don't know, missed some obvious ideas for some of these words. Tell us what you would have done with the words.
Tell us what you think of brand new graveyards. What would be in a brand new graveyard?
You tell us.
If you would like to hear more music like our start and end song, you can check out Kuradust and their album Containment Failure. And the song that we use is Mount Defiance, which is the last one on the album. It's an instrumental that Ben didn't have anything to do with.
That's why you go and listen to the other tracks. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And you are hereby exiled from our town. Stab.
I'll get you next time.